Hey, you guys, it's Mo and Fry with the nightly Newsy News. And as you can see, he does have a bigger bed. He just refuses to use it. Good evening, JKD Buck. And I hope you guys have had a good day this Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Are you growling or snoring, sir? Anyway, I hope you're having a good Tuesday. We have had a long day on the Young Thug trial. I didn't come back for the afternoon because there were some updates on the Delphi case, and I tried to put those up on my channel. I will be going over the Attorney General's response and then Judge Gold's response. And I believe the state also has a response. I will be going over the writ of mandamus and everything else as it comes along. It is just, you know, all of the squirrels have to align, and I'm trying to get that going. But we have some newsy news. And from Road and Track, a 12-year-old joyride stolen forklift through Michigan streets with cops in pursuit, police say. You know, when I was 12, I would have never thought. Thank you, Nikki. I'm glad to give you something to listen to. I would have never thought of stealing a forklift, but apparently this child can not only drive a forklift, but he's gonna take it on a joyride, as you do. Who knew? I mean, my bucket list doesn't have that on there, but let's see how he did it. A 12-year-old boy in Michigan allegedly hello, and thank you, Kim, for the Cash App. Thank you so much. And Little Peanut, good evening. A 12-year-old boy in Michigan allegedly stole a forklift and led police in a hour-long chase while striking at least 10 cars along the way. Oh my Bob. Could you imagine having to call, State Farm, you know, in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, quick question. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but, does my policy still cover stolen forklift, running over car?" Just for poos and giggles, I need to know. Asking for a friend. No, no, he was quite, raring to go. He had the Zoomies early, this afternoon. I think he thinks he is a cat. He was raised with a herd of cats, so I think he thinks he's a cat. He likes to nap. No one was injured in the pursuit, and the young driver was taken into custody, police said. Police responded to Forsyth Middle School in Ann Arbor, Michigan on November 25th over reports of a juvenile stealing a construction vehicle. As you do, police officers spotted the stolen vehicle being driven southbound on Brook Street near Pearl Street. The vehicle stolen was a Genie 17,000-pound GTH 636 telehandler equipped with a forklift. Now, I am not saying my youngest, most feral would try this, but if he did, he definitely would have lifted the forklift because that's how he would. The police pursuit reached speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. Cops say they observed the stolen forklift hitting parked cars during the pursuit. In the footage released by the police, you can hear an officer instructing the boy to, quote, pull over now, but to no avail. After about an hour-long chase, the boy finally stopped. Police identified the suspect as a 12-year-old boy from Ann Arbor. He was taken into custody and lodged at the Juvenile Detention Center. Hello, Bobby. Can I tell you that if I did this, look, I am not saying that I would be frozen in carbonate, like on Solo, but I'm saying that it would be a long, cold day in December before my hind end got off restriction and chores. and possibly scrubbing the kitchen with a toothbrush. The preliminary investigation indicates that the forklift was unlocked and the key was hidden inside the cab. Please tell me it was in the little, visor thing, little flip thing, because of course it was. Obviously, the key was not hidden well enough. Quote, "This is a very dangerous situation that could have easily ended with serious injuries," Ann Arbor police said on Facebook, and the incident remains an active and ongoing criminal investigation. Little dude heard dad go on about taxes and went killdozer mode. He was full ANCAP. He was like, "Javier Milei, we love you." He was like, "To Argentina we go." I speak Portuguese. While I sincerely doubt that he holds ANCAP ideas, it could be possible. It very well could be possible. We never know. We will have to see, but he is a minor, so, once his parents get done grounding him forever, by the time he's 25, I'm sure he'll be free to talk about it. This is a case that I wanna cover if it is going to be streamed. I want to still help out Nick with the Young Thug trial, but if this case is covered, or streamed, I do wanna cover it because it has, well, it brings a lot of things together, so let's go into this article. Paramedics who gave Elijah, McClain ketamine faced jury selection in, quote, "unprecedented trial." Jury selection is expected to begin Monday in a rare trial of two paramedics charged in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, anyone in the chat, please correct me. I don't want to say people's look, I don't want to say simple names wrong. As the legal battle over the Colorado case comes to a close, McLean, a 23-year-old massage therapist, died due to, quote, "complications of ketamine administered during or following forcible restraint," end quote, after he was stopped by Aurora police and injected with a powerful sedative by paramedics, according to an amended autopsy report released last year. Okay, thank you, Kim. I know this is a sensitive case, so I don't wanna say a name wrong. McLean's death, which gained renewed attention following the 2020 murder of George Floyd, sparked protest and national concern over the use of sedatives during police encounters. During two previous criminal trials this fall, defense attorneys for the officers involved in the stop repeatedly blamed McCain's death on ketamine, not the physical restraint. Paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Lieutenant Peter, however you say this name, I am gonna go Chichenik, with the Aurora Fire Department will stand trial on charges of manslaughter, negligent homicide, and several counts of assault. Cooper and Chichenik have pled not guilty, and attorneys for the pair did not immediately respond to a request for comment from USA Today. Thank you. That's what I thought, but again, this is a sensitive trial. I mean, I'm sorry to Lieutenant Peter, what's your name? Choo Choo Train. It is rare for police officers to be charged or convicted in on-duty killings, and experts say it's even rarer for paramedics to be criminally prosecuted in case like this. Yes, Bobby Baloney. This is really an interesting case because I want to see how it plays out. I think it brings together a lot of things that are really quite important, or at least hot topics in the news today. The police are. are blaming the paramedics are blaming the police. You've got the use of ketamine, you've got the use of different sort of things, when is it actually excited delirium, when is it not, different things that I think that this could blow up into a really mega case if, it is being streamed. Yeah, not Hot Topics, the store chain. Although I do tend to go in there a lot because I love, uh, you know, well, Sailor Moon stuff. But I'm getting a little close to stay off my lawn age to go into the real store, so I just do it online. It's a little too loud in there. Yeah, I bet he has to explain to everyone when when they call. Even the telemarketers are like, Peter, uh, cha 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 cha?" Quote, "The prosecution is in completely uncharted territory on this," said Ed, Obayashi, an attorney and expert on the police use of force. Quote, "Based on what I've seen, this is unprecedented. Prosecution of paramedics is unique and unprecedented. Medical workers in other states have been charged in deaths following law enforcement or involving law enforcement. Paramedics in Illinois are facing first-degree murder charges after a patient they strapped face down to a stretcher suffocated, and a nurse in California who drew blood from an unresponsive handcuffed patient as officers pinned him down was charged with involuntary manslaughter, the Associated Press reported. But Douglas Wolfberg, a founding partner of a law firm which represents emergency medical service workers, says cases like McLean's are typically handled in civil court system through medical malpractice litigation. Yeah, I wonder if, this will change a lot of policies, about when a person, is showing a highly agitated state, what can we do that isn't, holding them down and injecting them with a sedative? Now I can understand when that may be appropriate, but maybe we need to involve more of the, you know, doctors with a bunch of letters behind their names that have all that mental health, practice to figure out some better ideas because it seems like sedating people may be a little dangerous, especially on the fly, especially when these are heavy sedatives and you have to kind of guess a person's height, weight, and metabolism very quickly. And if you get it wrong, it could be very, very bad. We would die. Hello, MLS. So I am hoping they stream this trial, but let's continue. He said prosecutors in Colorado are instead, quote, criminalizing deviations from medical protocols and errors in medical judgment. And that's what makes the theory of prosecution unique and unprecedented. Wolfberg says he believes it is unlikely the paramedics will be convicted. Quote, I feel like the prosecution has a steep hill to climb, he said. Kenneth, what is this name? Okie dokie. I'm just going to say Kenneth Okie dokie. A lawyer representing a paramedic who, in a whistleblower lawsuit, alleged police in Minnesota pressured him to administer ketamine during an arrest, said it is often difficult to hold police or paramedics civilly or criminally liable in these cases, due in part to qualified immunity. Okidoki said he hopes prosecutors will be able to secure a conviction in the McLean case, but said success is, quote, a real long shot. Obayashi agreed conviction is unlikely, calling the case an example of, quote, prosecutorial overreach. Quote, the message it sends is extremely dangerous to law enforcement, the paramedic community, and especially the patient themselves, he said. Because it's one thing for a cop to second guess his or her actions, which we don't want, but we want to place first responders in the same situation where they are going to second guess. Prosecution raised awareness, but more legislative changes are needed. So you can kind of tell the slant of this article where they are definitely pushing for these paramedics to be found guilty and the police to be found guilty and everyone to go to jail. Now, again, I think that every person who has an opinion about this should go to one of those, oh gosh, one of those walkthrough things where you have to make those second decisions like police officers do. I know a couple reporters who have kind of spouted off about how police need to do like a warning shot or wing someone in the leg with, a freedom seat instead of going center mass because, danger. I do believe that people need to be aware of the decisions that police officers have to make, and we really need to be aware that in New York, I believe that 2,000 police officers have quit this year. There are more budget cuts coming, and I know not every police officer is bad, but you are losing the good police officers because there has to be something very, very demoralizing about arresting the same person 87 bazillion times for the same thing, only for him to be out on the street again because he gets cashless bail every 5 seconds. That has to be absolutely demoralizing when you have the same person, responsible for 90 bazillion crimes. That has to be demoralizing. And you are going to retain the cops that, have the bad attitude, are there for the power, are there for, to abuse their position, at least in my opinion. And again, I'm a redhead on the internet. So, it is, I'm just a redhead on the internet. Those are my opinions. The trial comes as the medical community has begun rejecting excited delirium as a diagnosis and recognizing that ketamine has a high rate of respiratory complications, according to Paul Applebaum, director of the Center for Law, Ethics, and Psychiatry at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons. In 2021, Colorado's governor signed a law prompted by McLean's death prohibiting law enforcement from directing medical professionals to administer ketamine and barring medical providers from using ketamine to subdue subjects unless there is a justifiable medical emergency. Uh, Okie dokie says he believes that more states should create similar legislation. Wolfberg warned such legislation should not only focus on ketamine, which is just one of many drugs that paramedics have at their disposal, but rather the broader issue of paramedics administering drugs during encounters with law enforcement. Oh, Applebaum, sorry. I'm working on my diction. Applebaum declined to speculate uh, on whether a conviction in the McLean case is likely, but said that changes have already had a positive impact. Quote, the prosecution itself has undoubtedly made paramedics around the country aware of the dangers simply of using ketamine and the dangers of acquiescing to police requests to use ketamine, Applebaum said. Will the conviction make a difference in that regard? I think it may be that the more important impact has already occurred. So, this is definitely a trial I want to look at. Um, Again, this has a lot of different pieces and parts. The, Elijah McClain death was tragic. He was just walking home. You know, Apparently he was very introverted. He got stopped by the police officers. I think he was, very anxious. He maybe got a little Twitter-pated. The officers, called the paramedics saying he was in excited delirium. They restrained him and gave him ketamine to calm him down, and unfortunately, ketamine is a very, very strong drug, and you have to, quickly do math and be able to quickly assess how this particular patient, without knowing all of their history, is going to react to this drug, and unfortunately, you can't know that. So, I do feel like maybe things need to change, but I don't know if prosecuting these particular paramedics does anything but, a political kabuki theater. So, I have mixed feelings about that. I feel like going after these particular, paramedics is more of a political prosecution, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. Uh, Man says he's not really a criminal after allegedly kidnapping a woman whose, quote, hair was set on fire with a torch lighter during days of, well, beatings and torture. Oh, and on a note from our guest correspondent, apparently her potty mouth got her in trouble, so she is, a guest of solitary confinement for a little bit. So it'll be a couple weeks before she comes back on. Apparently, the guards do not like to be called certain bad names. She is learning her lesson, hopefully. A 42-year-old man in Nevada has been arrested for allegedly kidnapping and holding a woman against her will for days while he tortured, beat, and raped her inside her house. Edward Y. Kim was taken into custody earlier this month and charged with a spate of felonies, including first degree kidnapping involving grape, first degree arson, grape with a deadly weapon, court records reviewed by Law and Crime show. The investigation into Kim began when firefighters with the County Fire Department contacted the Las Vegas Metro Police Department on November 16th when they found a woman, quote, covered in wounds. Las Vegas NBC affiliate KSNV reported. Medical emergency personnel quickly took the woman to University Medical Center's trauma unit for treatment. Yeah, he definitely doesn't have Manson lamps. He isn't peering into my soul right now from dead eyes. Never listen to that. If it's medical, I'm in charge, not the PD. Had several arguments with PD supervisors over med, etc., not their purview. I think that's a good argument to be made. I think definitely there should be a separation. The cops should not be telling the paramedics what their patient needs. They're not medical people. They have no idea. I mean, the police officers are there to, keep the peace in theory, and paramedics have much more training. So if they're yelling at the paramedics, if they're making them do something that they have no idea about, Yamaha, you are absolutely right. I feel very strongly that that's a good idea. So good on you. Though she was severely injured, the victim reportedly told the medical staff that she had been Kim's prisoner for several days. While being treated, the victim told her physician that she'd been assaulted for 2 days by Kim, who she said, quote, restrained her with zip ties and hit her with bolt cutters and would, quote, set her hair on fire with a torchlighter, according to a copy of the arrest report obtained by the Las Vegas Review Journal. She also claimed that he would do the grapey thing without her consent and record that on his cell phone. Doctors reportedly determined that the victim had suffered fractures to both of her kneecaps and both of her forearms. had fractures to her right leg and finger on her left hand. Doctors and nurses also noticed that her hair was burnt. She had at least 7 puncture injuries on her legs and severe bruising to her upper torso. But he's not a criminal, guys. He's just a nice guy. Based on the information provided by the victims, officers returned to the area where she was initially found. When they went to Kim's apartment complex and attempted to contact him, by the time officers were at his house, Kim had already left the residence, but officers reportedly observed what appeared to be blood in several areas on his porch. After a brief search, authorities found Kim in a nearby parking lot where he was attempting to hide behind parked cars. Sir, you and Sarah Boone need to learn how to play hide and seek. The Review Journal reported. He reportedly then insisted that the officers come inside his apartment. Please come into my murder lair, sir. Nothing to see here. When asked about the victim and her injuries, Kim allegedly conceded that she'd been in his home, but said he did not know what happened to her or how she'd been injured. When police asked Kim how he reacted when the victim tried to leave his home, he reportedly started to ramble without answering the question. Kim eventually conceded that he and the victim had been messing around, then claimed he was, quote, "not really a criminal," and rambled about something happening to his children before refusing to answer additional questions. Police say they recovered bolt cutters, zip ties, and security footage from the apartment. Kim is being held in the Clark County Detention Center without bond, and he will have a preliminary hearing on December the 5th. Well, I'm glad he doesn't think he's a criminal. Holy bazolies, what is wrong with people? In a sad news, but this has been kind of blowing up on the internets, as they do. In North Carolina, filmed, of course, a student 15 was unalived by a younger peer who apparently brought a stabulary weapon to a North Carolina high school, and when a brawl broke out, he stabbed several students. And I don't know why they continue to run this Colombian judge thing other than it's salacious. Hello, Sal. Other than it's salacious and it gets eyeballs. A 15-year-old student was fatally knifed by a 14-year-old classmate on Monday during a wild caught on camera brawl inside a North Carolina high school. The melee inside the gym at Southeast Raleigh High School also landed a second student, 16, in the hospital with a non life threatening stab wound, according to local reports. Quote, both victims were transported to an area hospital, Raleigh Police Chief Estella Patterson said during a press conference. Quote, sadly, one victim succumbed to his injuries, end quote. This is a very unfortunate incident that occurred today, she added, one that is very disturbing to us. Bobby, we have the AG and Judge Gould agreeing on ridiculousness in my state. I mean, every state has its stuff that we would rather not report on. Yes, Sal, it's the Amish, as usual. The teen accused of stabbing two of his peers was arrested and charged with murder on a juvenile petition, WRAL reported, citing authorities. Part of the fight, caught on cameras, shows two students face to face before a youngster in a black jacket throws a punch at a student in a red jacket who responds with his own punch. The fight spills into the gym as other students quickly follow the brawl. During the escalating melee, one of the students appears to jab at two teens with a sharp object before fleeing, according to the footage obtained by WRAL and CBS 17. The identities of the victim and the suspect were not released. Sherelle McLaughlin told WRAL that her son, who is the alleged stabber, was only defending himself. Y'all, can we take a minute? But why is it? And I'm trying to choose my words very, very carefully. But why is it every time one of these young people, when a young person does something terrible, a mom is coming out to defend their terribleness? Not, "I am so sorry that they did something horrible," and then no, I'm not, Sal. I'm just saying, can can the mother acknowledge that another mother lost her child first before she goes into defending her son who was in the wrong for bringing a weapon to school? I mean, could she do that? Could she do that? Could she have her son take some personal responsibility? Why is your son taking a weapon to school? Why didn't you know your son was taking a weapon to school? I mean, there are a lot of things going on here. Why is your son engaging in fighting at school? I mean, there are a lot of questions that I think need to get answered. But you want to go to the media and immediately start defending your son's actions and not pointing out that maybe there was something wrong with them. And I get it, it's your son. Look, I'm not saying it's wrong to defend your son. What I am saying is that could you not just take 5 seconds to acknowledge that another mother has lost her heart today, had lost her baby? As much as you love your child, some other mother doesn't have hers right now because of the actions of your son. That's what I don't get about this. I I get defending your son, but not acknowledging the other thing, that's what I don't get. She also said she doesn't believe he took the knife to school, but got it from someone else in the building. It magically appeared, ma'am. Okay. Quote, "The whole situation is terrible," McLaughlin said. "I feel bad for the other family, but in return, I feel bad for my son because he was fighting for his life. It wasn't a fair fight. I just don't think it should have happened like that." Y'all, I can't. The school will be closed Tuesday as students come to grip with the death of a classmate and this district reviews safety protocols. School should be a safe haven for our students and staff, Wake County Superintendent Robert Taylor said. "What happened here today is unacceptable." Well, North Carolina, Raleigh High School, welcome to spending some of your tax money on metal detectors at your high school because apparently that's what's needed. In This is why I won't get a turkey fryer. Turkey fryer explodes in a new or in a North Carolina home and blows out windows. Now, I could be wrong, y'all, but I don't believe you are supposed to put your turkey fryer inside. I could be wrong, but I believe well, the problem with the leg is that your femoral artery is in the leg. And your femoral artery is one of the biggest arteries in your body, so you can bleed out quite quickly. So, well, Uh, no, and let's see. Burlington, North Carolina, a family is lucky to be alive after their turkey fryer. Yes, femoral. Sorry. And I only know that because I read way too many books that might have people unalived that way, allegedly in the books. Is lucky to be alive after their turkey fryer exploded in their home. Early Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve in Burlington, North Carolina, a propane tank fueling a turkey fryer exploded. The explosion was so strong it blew out the windows in the back of the house on, I'm not going to say their address. Investigators said the person was cooking the turkey and fell asleep, let the boiling oil unattended. Well, now, allegedly. And that is dangerous, says Fire Marshal Bill. Oh my gosh, can we have Fire Marshal Bill back? Burlington Battalion Chief Daniel Schaffner said, and that can happen if it gets heated too, if that much fire heats it up to that degree. Yeah. Schaffner said it can happen anywhere, and unattended cooking is one of the leading causes for home fires, especially in the holiday seasons. There are more house fires due to unattended cooking or cooking accidents on Thanksgiving than any other day of the year. Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things. Y'all wanted a freaking turkey. We want people to be safe and stay safe this holiday season. Be cautious when you're cooking if you're using a turkey fryer with oil or anything else. The fire caused around $150,000 in damage to the structure. No one was seriously hurt. Investigators said never fry a turkey inside. Yes, I believe it says it in big bold letters on, the metal steel thingamabob. Like there's a big warning sign. Look, y'all, we're taking warning labels off of things. I can't with people no more. And stay at least 10 feet away from anything that can catch fire. The National Fire Protection Association and the CPSC posted this YouTube video showing the fire hazard turkey fryers can present. Yes, again, it can cause an oil fire, which will get bigger if you spray water on it. So you need to have baking powder, sand, or something else that will cause the fire to choke out the air. Also, you need to maybe not fall asleep. But again, why do you have a turkey fryer inside? I think there are at least 17 different warnings on the package, on the internets, on the dark webs, on the TikToks, on the Tic Tacs. Holy crap. So there you go. Turkey fryers and getting sleepy do not mix. Well, there you go, Bobby. Crayons, crayon pictures. We'll just get a big circle, red, and no house, but then they'll be like, "Oh, I'll put it in the trailer. It's in the double wide, y'all. We're safe." Allegedly, and I'm not making fun of people from North Carolina. In other news, quote, "A complete psychopath, Sinaloa cartel assassin accused of feeding rivals to tigers is arrested," feds say. So it wasn't Carol Baskin? One of the Sinaloa cartel's lead assassins, named in an indictment listing allegations that include feeding rivals to pet tigers, has been arrested in Mexico. Well, extra fiber. Just You put Tapatio on anything, and you can eat it anywhere in the field. Nestor Isidoro Perez Saldes Saleses? Look, also known as El Nini, that was the most dangerous guy's name? El Nini? Maybe I'm not saying it right. El Nini? Doesn't sound terrifying, but I'm gonna say it sounds terrifying because if he gets out and he gets mad at a mouthy redhead, "Sir, you sound terrifying, alright?" "Okay, I hear ya. Texas Pete's it is." Was arrested on Wednesday in Mexico, authorities said. Quote, "This guy is a complete psychopath," said Mike Vigil, former head of international operations for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. The Associate Press reported, "Taking him out of commission is a good thing for Mexico." Well, if he was arrested in Mexico, I hate to break it to everyone, but Mexico is not known for having a not corrupt government. I mean, I hate to be the killjoy in the group, but they haven't done the greatest job of kicking the cartel's ass, lately. They seem to be doing a hell of a lot of human trafficking at our southern border, with Mexico's help or at least blind eye. Uh, t- Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement that Perez Salas and his security forces, quote, murdered, tortured, and kidnapped rivals, witnesses, and others who opposed the Chapitos. And he has a nice set of mutton chops. The news comes after Garland announced charges against 23 leaders, members, and associates of the Sinaloa cartel in a push to disrupt and dismantle the organization authorities say is responsible for operating one of the deadliest and most prolific drug trafficking operations in the world. Among those charged are the drug cartels, traffickers, their money launderers, their manufacturers, their chemical suppliers, their leaders, and security forces. What, you're going after the CCP? Are you kidding me? They're going after the CCP, so we're gonna get all of the fentanyl off the streets? I don't know how Xi Jinping is going to feel about this. Someone call Winnie the Pooh. President Joe Biden said in a statement uh, okay, President Joe Biden said in a statement that that's probably what he said. Now, what the media has reported that he said was, "Both our countries are safer with him behind bars and facing justice for his crime," Biden said. His arrest follows Mexico's arrest and extradition to the United States of other Chapitos leader Ovidio Guzman Lopez earlier this year. These arrests are testament to the commitment between the United States and Mexico to secure our communities against violence, counter the cartels, and end the scourge of illicit fentanyl that is hurting so many families, Biden added. We will continue working as strong partners to do everything possible to hold criminals accountable for jeopardizing public health and safety in our two countries. Says the man who laughed in the face of a mother who lost her two sons to fentanyl because it happened during someone else's presidency. You know, uh, as I said, look, I don't care who you voted for. I really don't care. Everyone is allowed to have their own vote, their own opinion, and everything else. But let's be honest, he did not get through all of these daggone sentences without going, okay. Now, what the media chose to translate that into is fine, b but it doesn't matter who you arrest if we don't have a southern or northern border that's that's secure, because there'll just be a vacuum that other people take over. I Regardless of who you vote for, I don't want any other parents to lose their kids. I don't want any other families to go through what my family went through. I don't want any other, kids to lose their dads. I don't want any of that. So, I would just like our government to do the one thing that the government is supposed to do, which is secure our country. I'm sure there's a way we can do that and be humane to people and welcome people that legitimately need asylum because they are going to be persecuted in their country. I think that there's a way we could do that. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of corrupt, ridiculous, window-licking, kabuki theater, mouth-breathing fart sniffers in Congress who do nothing but wanna do, sound bites for CNN, C-SPAN, and Twitters and not help the people that voted them in. So I say we replace all of Congress with puppies. But that's just my idea tonight because 'cause I'm kind of pissed off at people after this whole, Biden statement. The Sinaloa cartel is responsible for the biggest influx of fentanyl into the U.S. over several years, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration said. A February 2021 federal grand jury indictment in Washington accuses Perez Salas of cocaine and methamphetamine trafficking, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and witness retaliation. Again, I don't know how we can charge him for these things in America unless he was crossing the border. And look, I'm all for Rotten Tomatoes and pillories. I've heard that people did not survive tarring and feathering, so I don't wanna, do go that far. Maybe ISO cubes and you have to listen to red wine and, glitter bombs, because to me, that would be, or Zydeco music, which would be painful for me. I know people in New Orleans love it, but songs have an end. That's my problem with jazz music. Songs have an end. I'm a little too type A. There is an end, but I know people love to jam. It's just not my cup of tea, but everyone else can have their own cup of tea. Just don't make me listen to it because I need an end. A 174-minute song is not my jam. Uh, let's see here. Possession of machine guns, destructive devices, and money laundering. The New York indictment alleges extreme brutality, including use of a corkscrew to insert into victims' muscles. Ugh. Okay. True. True. And around the world, so things are really popping off around the world. You have, the shenanigans in Ireland. Ireland is now gonna make you have a license for that meme. I kid you not. Now just having, maybe a meme that you're just creating, and haven't even distributed, but if, the Irish police look in your phone and see that you have a meme that might be considered just a little bit tasteless, you might go to jail if the current, proposed hate speech laws go through in Ireland after, people have gotten all upset and Twitter-pated over things that are happening over in Ireland. We Yeah, it's just look, I know people that love, love, love jazz. I just need an end to a song. I just can't. But, the people that love it, just don't make me sit in a look, I have to go home and go to sleep. Now, France has been kind of coming to an inflection point for a while. French the French people, rioting is kind of like it's a Tuesday. It seems to be a national sport since, well, the bloody revolution. The last couple years we've had the yellow vest and everything else. Well, for the last couple years, you've had the French military come out and say that we really have a cultural divide. We have invited, a large proportion of migrants that haven't assimilated into French society who are sort of ghettoizing in the sense that they are creating their own communities. They are not considering themselves French. They are, not accepting sort of the French rule, so to speak. They aren't, accepting our customs. They, don't want women to talk to them. There's just a clash of cultures that, people could see from a mile away, but, the French military has been warning about this, that, we are going to see some major conflict, you know, w and they've been warning Macron for a long time, and unfortunately, the murder of this French teenager might be the tipping point, but again, rioting and having, shenanigans is kind of like a French sport too, so, it's kinda like, "Oh, the French are at it again. It's a Tuesday." Murder of French teenager could be society's, quote, "tipping point." The murder of a 16-year-old boy could prove to be a, quote, "tipping point for French society," Emmanuel Macron's government warned as civilians were told not to take the law into their own hands. Now, again, we are seeing a lot of this where the governments, these elites, these people in government are so far removed from the problems of the common person. Again, how many times have we been told by Karine Jean-Pierre, you know, people on look, I'm a news junkie, so that, the economy is getting better, the jobs market is coming back, inflation isn't that bad. And then you go to the grocery store and your money isn't going as far, people are choosing between gas and food, and something isn't adding up. So it really is a sign of the time that everyday people do not feel represented by their government anymore. It feels more like a ruling elite fiefdom over the serfs. And unfortunately, there's more serfs than there are lords. So, you know, it's like that movie A Bug's Life. If, the crickets are scared if the ants ever realize that there's more of them than there are of the crickets. And again, Kevin Spacey pretends to be a human, well, a cricket in that movie. Stark words from spokesperson, Oliver Veran came as officials called for calm after armed paramilitary activists marched in suburb where suspects were arrested over the unaliving, were thought to live. The teenager, named only as Thomas, was killed on November 19th at a village dance party in Crepol, south of Lyon. Look, I don't know, it's a French name. He was stabbed during a brawl that is believed to have broken out when a group of youths, I love how youths is used, youths, if you will, said to be from a nearby housing estate, tried to gate crash the event. 9 people were wounded, 4 of them seriously. Conservative and hard right politicians. You know, I'm gonna steal a line from Tin Pool, but if the majority of people kind of agree with the quote unquote hard right, you know, common sense populists, then are they really far right? I is confused. Have cast the death as evidence of the danger from migration or immigrants and minorities. Uh, During a visit to the village of Krpol on Monday, Mr. Veran said the death of Thomas was, quote, a tragedy that puts us at risk of a tipping over of our society if we don't rise to the occasion, he said. Quote, it's up to the judiciary to mete out justice, not for the French public themselves. Well, that would be great, except that we have seen the justice system. I watch, the Lotus Eaters a lot because I watch, Sticks, but we have watched the English, or at least I have watched the English government ignore the rather, industrialized grape gangs get away with, for 20 years systematically human trafficking young girls from, you know, lower working class families in England. And this is happening all over England, and it doesn't get reported because, you know, they don't want to appear bias. So it's swept under the rug. So we keep seeing things swept under the rug so it doesn't cause offense. And people are getting tired of it. People are getting tired of it. In Ireland, you have a country of 7 million people, and you tried to shove 700,000 people in there. They have housing restrictions. There no people can't get houses. It's it's just like in New York where you have, homeless New Yorkers that can't get beds, but you have migrants who are coming in or asylum seekers, and they are getting placed in five-star hotels, and when they are moved to different locations that are set up by the city, they are saying, "We want to go back to the four-star hotels. These, places that you guys have set up are not good enough." Um, the regular citizenry, tax burden people, the people that have to bear the tax brunt of these programs, these issues, of the government's idiocracy, they're getting a little bit tired, and all hell is going to break loose, allegedly. My prediction is if governments don't start reflecting what their people actually want and not these pie in the sky elitist things. No one wants these stupid bike lanes in their on their streets. I understand that Build Back Better gave a bunch of city bike lanes, funds to make, the Green New Deal happen or whatever, but it you look, y'all, I have gone on a tangent. It it really does seem like the voice of populism is winning. Far right seems to have lost its bite, if you will, when every single person that isn't, well, shouting on The Young Turks is far right. But, if you like the Young Turks, that is okay. I am not here to tell you what to think or how to think. It just is kind of funny to me that now, Sam Harris, and everyone else, and Dave Rubin and a bunch of other people are all, apparently far, far, far to the right. So, that has been Newsy News for this evening. Let's recap. We have a 12-year-old in Michigan going on a forklift ride. We do not know if he's an NCAP, so maybe he was, working on his killdozer, you know, his killdozer sort of skills before he gets older, or he just stole a forklift. Paramedics who gave Elijah McCain ketamine are going to be going on trial. Hopefully, this trial will be streamed. I think it will be just because it does kind of touch on a lot of societal issues. And I think that Court TV or Law and Crime would really want to cover this because I feel like it would get a lot of views. Well, and honestly, Haley, that is okay. I am never here to tell you how to think or how not to think. It is it is look, I am more of a Lewis Black, Republicans suck and Democrats blow, but the libertarians kill me too. So, I'm like I'm kind of, I'm kind of like giant asteroid of death right now, with his vice president, Bigfoot, but I'm hoping I can find the will to find someone to vote for. I'm like, "Ross Perot, where were you when we were making fun of you? You really had good points. Why was I too young to understand that?" Apparently this guy thinks he's not a criminal. I can't imagine. He doesn't have dead eyes at all, but he basically tortured and, uh, beat the tar out of a woman for a bunch of days. And, but he says he's not a criminal. A student who was 15 was unalived by a 14-year-old who either brought a knife or got a knife at school and started stabbing people during a fight. Now, according to his mother, he just, was defending himself. But again, maybe this mother could have shown a little humility and really reached out to the other mother. I don't like the instant defense. Uh, do not put a turkey fryer inside your house. Again, if we need to put little stickers with pictures on them for the non okay, I'm almost done, ding dong. I know. But you don't put them on there. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. I'm almost done, ding dong. I know. He's like, "You went 5 minutes over, you lady." And Uh, one of the cartel's most feared assassins with great mutton chops or on a wood deck, you are correct. Anything that can catch on fire, do not put hot boiling oil on. It would seem logical, it would seem, commonsensical, but no. Yes, I know. And finally, France is on fire, but that's kind of a Tuesday. So Fry is saying, "We is done. We is super-de-duper done. I get my last go out of the night." See? He's not dead. He's not always asleep. He is awake and with yes, sir. I will see you Probably, but, we really I mean, what we need to take away cable and the internet, then kids will really be confused. I will see you guys tomorrow for morning Newsy News, and then I will probably be helping Nicholas with the Young Thug trial. Yes. Fry says we are leaving. We are going. He's like, "We is done. I will see you in the morning." Well, this is his last go out of the night, and he knows that he gets to go outside and play, and it is cold and freezing, so I will get my coat on and we will go outside. Bye, guys. Have a great evening. Thank you for joining me. Yes, yes, we are going outside.